everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rapid Fire Q&A with Scotty Milas and Wendi Hill. I am your host, Scotty Milas, theperfectfranchise.com, scottmilasfranchisecoach.com, and of course, the founder and podcast host of All Things Considered Franchising. I am with Miss Wonderful. I don't know where I would be without her, Wendi Hill, president of Market Momentum. I strongly suggest if anybody's looking for any marketing ideas or help and guidance with social media, LinkedIn, pretty much anything in that marketing, reach out to Wendi. Exceptional to work with. And I think I say this every week. 6-7 years now. I mean, it's
been a while.
Time flies when you're having fun. But we are here to answer some questions that were presented to us through social media channels, whether website, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever Wendi has me on these days. But Wendi, the road show is yours.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me back again this month. We only have 5 questions this month. Maybe with the holidays coming up, just not quite as many, but I think these are good questions. So are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Number 1, is there a red flag inside a Discovery Day presentation that many candidates miss?
I think the thing that candidates miss about Discovery Day is there are a few things. One, a lot of people think they're going to Discovery Day to make a decision, where at the Perfect Franchise and as a coach consultant working with my clients, we want to position you that you've already decided to say yes, and you're going to Discovery Day to be awarded the franchise. Remember, you have not been awarded the franchise yet. However, if you've been invited to Discovery Day, that's a very clear sign, great sign that in all probability, you're going to be awarded. Now, if you go to Discovery Day and become this different person that you have been in the process and kind of be unprofessional, and it has happened, then there's a likelihood you won't get approved. So I think you have to stay open-minded about Meet the Team Day, Discovery Day. Some of these are in person at the client headquarters, at the franchise brand's headquarters, or virtual. But you should be prepared that you're there to say yes, unless you see something that really is just totally different than what you expected. I always joke with my clients that, unless you're going to be part of a cult you don't want to belong to, that would be the reason to say no, but you're saying yes. And also understand that you're going there to show and interact with everybody within the organization and to be approved and awarded the franchise. So those are the expectations I coach my clients on as far as Discovery Day.
Okay. That's good insight. That's probably a little more than what people realize actually happens there.
Yeah, a lot of sometimes and that's why it's important when you're working with a coach that they're coaching you and preparing you for Meet the Team Day, Discovery Day. It should not be a day that's treaded on as lightly, because if you're not approved, and it's usually a team effort, executive model approvement, there are a number of people that are going to approve you or award you the franchise. It's really hard to kind of get back in the game.
Okay, good. Number 2, what are the biggest mistakes buyers make when trying to run a franchise semi-absentee? What conditions make semi-absentee work?
This is a great question. And I don't know how it happened, but over the last 3, 4, maybe it's 5 years now, the semi-absentee thing just kind of popped out of nowhere. And I think the biggest obstacle right now, and it's no negativity towards specific brands in general, or brands, but sometimes brands are not delivering the message on the expectations of what a semi-absentee owner should be in a brand. So number 1, you have to ask the brand. And again, all my clients are going into this prepared to ask the questions, how much time do I need really to run this brand as a semi-absentee? I always tell my clients, look, if you don't have 20, 25 hours a week to provide oversight, if you're hiring a manager, because you are going to need a manager, general manager, to run the business, then semi-absentee is not an option for you, because you're just going to end up, with your back against the wall, and it's going to be an investment that didn't work out for you, a business that didn't work out for you. So you have to be prepared to have the time to provide oversight. The other mistake people make going into this is that they don't realize that it's going to affect the ROI, the return on investment. Because if you have to pay a manager 60, 70, $80,000 a year, whatever the brand, whatever you need as a qualifier to help run the brand, the business, that's going to affect what you take home and the overall ROI of the business. So you have to have those discussions internally with yourselves, kind of plan out that pro forma. I help my clients a lot of looking at that and planning that. That's, semi-absentee. But then again, there are passive models, maybe 5, 10 hours a week, but they tend to be a higher investment. But the idea of semi-absentee is that you just have to prepare yourself that you need 20, 25 hours a week to provide oversight, and hire a good manager. And remember, the other qualifiers on the semi-absentee is what kind of position or job do you have now? If you have a job that kind of locks you to a desk 5 days a week, 8, 9 hours a day, semi-absentee may not be an option at all for you, because you have to have the ability to jump on a call if your manager calls, maybe answer a question, or maybe run down to a client or the store if there's an issue or an obstacle that's taking place. So there are a lot of variables in semi-absentee, and again, I work very closely with my clients to ensure that the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, that they can structure and own a business that's semi-absentee, and then eventually get into full-time ownership.
Those are all good points. It's definitely not drive-by ownership at all. Number 3, what are the signs a candidate is undercapitalized even when they think they have enough? And how do you help them course correct before they get hurt?
Great question again, and people have heard me say this on the show, that financing is a critical part, or how you're going to finance or pay for your startup is bullet point number 1 in the process. And the clear sign for me is someone who is not in a position or wants to speak to our financing consultant that I pass my clients on to and I pay for, to talk about financing options. Now, clearly, if you have the liquidity, net worth, and you're going to self-finance this, that's okay. But the red sign for me, the red flag, I should say, for me, is that the people who don't want to talk about financing, that is always a red flag for me. So if you're going to investigate business ownership, you should be in a position to want to talk and learn and educate about the different types of financing options available and what you would qualify for. You can easily go through a pre-approval process, not affecting your credit, and it won't cost you anything.
Right.
So the red flag for me is if you're not willing to do that.
Okay.
So you're either in a position where you're really not taking this seriously, or you just don't think you're really going to be able to get financing. So have that open dialogue. I like to have that open dialogue after my client speaks to Mona, who we work with very closely, and I pay for. But again, that's the red flag for me. If you're not willing to learn and educate yourself.
Good. That's good advice. Number 4, how can someone strategically use franchise ownership to build a multi-unit or multi-brand portfolio without burning out or over leveraging themselves?
These are the advantages of working with somebody like myself or a franchise consultant. Again, I've always said there's no cost to working with someone like me. Find somebody you're comfortable with, but a good franchise coach consultant is going to be talking to you about your short and long-term goals. And that short and long-term goal revolves around the strategy to scale multiple territories, multiple units. That's also part of my responsibility when I do a market research and talk to the brands about territory availability. So it's easy to say, hey, I'm going to do 5 units or 10 units. But if you don't have a management plan, if your management plan is, I'm going to stay as a semi-absentee and I'm going to try to open 10 units, it may not work. So you got to have these conversations, not only with me, but you also got to have it with the brand. What's realistic? And this also ties back into financing. There has to be a financial plan to strategize how you're going to multiply.
Okay.
Financing is based on one single unit or territory, or maybe a couple of territories. But if you're getting into brick and mortar, banks are not going to finance you for 10 units up front. They're going to want to make sure that you are turning a profit, working the business, it's becoming successful, whether it's semi-absentee or not. So those are really strategic things and conversations you should be having in building your why and why you're looking at business ownership and franchising.
Okay, great. We have one question left. What's one thing in the franchise disclosure document, the FDD, that candidates almost never pay attention to, but absolutely should before they invest in a franchise?
Item 3,
Okay.
and that is the legalities. Any lawsuits, pending lawsuits, if there were any, have they been worked out? What were they about? Sometimes a lot of people, not sometimes, but people seem to always want to jump to the item 19. The revenue, data, the sales data. But you got to look at item 3, which is legalities, and if there are any, ask the questions directly to the brands. What happened? What's going on? If you have a brand that has 50 locations and they've been sued 10 times, well, to me, that's a red flag.
Right.
The other thing that you need to look at in an FDD is what we call SNO, sold but not open.
Okay.
I won't mention the brand, but there was a brand many years ago that sold hundreds and hundreds of units, but only got a handful of opened. That's a red flag. So
Right.
sold, not open. You want to, and again, the back of the FDD will show the number of units sold, how many have opened. Again, if it's a brick and mortar location, yes, it does take time because of the real estate factor.
Right.
Finding a location, building, you got to take into consideration that. But on a territory, a service-based business, if somebody bought 10 territories and only one's operating, you need to, what's going on, especially over a period of time, and it's carried over from 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I would say those are the two things, but that's why hiring a good franchise attorney to review the FDD with you once you've determined this is the brand, I'm at my 96%, I'm at the yes. That's when you go with the FDD to the franchise attorney and say, hey, let's have a conversation. And then ask the questions to tie it into our first question. You want to get the FDD review done and have your questions answered by the brand and their attorneys before you go to discovery day, not
Right.
after. So
Right.
those would be the two things that I would say that our people have a tendency to miss, or at least not inquire about.
That's all I have. That was great. Great answers. Great information today.
Well, thank you. Well, Wendi, I want to first wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
We were just chatting before we went live that this year has just gone by in a heartbeat.
It really has.
We both have seen a substantial uptick in our clients and business that we've been bringing in. So again, thank you for everything.
Well, thank you.
We'll have an announcement for the next rapid fire Q&A. But as important, I want to wish all of our listeners, LinkedIn family members, clients, past clients, a happy Thanksgiving. One of my favorite holidays. It's my favorite holiday, not one of. I think it's a great way for us to share thanks with everybody close to family, friends, without having to exchange gifts.
Exactly.
And we get to sit around and prepare a meal for a few days and then spend 10 minutes at the dinner table and then
Absolutely. Yeah.
finish watching football. So to all of my listeners, I wish everybody a happy and healthy Thanksgiving. And until next time, this is Scotty Miles. You can reach me at scotty@theperfectfranchise.com, scott@scottmilesfranchisecoach.com. Visit my website, scottmilesfranchisecoach.com, theperfectfranchise.com. And also check out our website. We started our 3rd year, over 100 episodes now. We've just added 2 sensational episodes with Tony Nicholson over at Centown and, of course, Brendan Campbell over at Image Studios. We got some exciting guests coming up. So check it out at allthingsconsideredfranchising.com or any of the podcast channels or your favorite podcast channel, I should say. So, Wendi, have a great one. And this is Scotty saying until next time.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.